Okay, we are going to be demonstrating the bank case 0 in RStudio. So here I've opened it up and you will see that we've got our global environment empty here. So we're going to import the data sets. The first one I'm going to do in the same order that we did our SAS case in. I'm going to go to where my data is, and this will be the data where you downloaded from UBlearns. So it's that same location. Let me close this up. Sorry, one second. Okay. We're good. We're good. Advanced Business Analytics, data here, and we had our customer demographics data set here. Open that. It's going to give you a preview. Let's import that, and you'll see it here. We're also going to import our Excel file. That's all. Analytics, data. Should probably put this in a much more accessible location. And the XLSX file is the one that we're going to be importing here. Again, that was the customer ID 2. And lastly, we will import from a text, that CSV file. That's a text file, comma separated values. And desktop here. Again, your data is probably located in a much more accessible space. And here, it's going to prompt me now with, how I want to format the data. So I definitely know that it's comma separated. I'm going to indicate there are headings. So this is what the data frame is looking like. This is what the raw data file looks like, and this is what the data frame is going to be, that's going to be imported into R. Import here. And so now we've got all of our data sets in the environment. The next thing that we have to do, recall, is create that customer ID that is consistent across all 3 data sets. And the way that we're going to do that is just a little bit of coding. So the way we do this, there might be another way, another package. This is the way that I'm going to do it. In the customer banking info, there is a new variable that I'm going to create that is customer ID, and it is based on the customer banking info variable name customer ID 1. Okay, and so what you'll see here is after I indicate that, you'll see that customer ID is now the same as customer ID 1. I'm going to wait when I merge all of these to drop the variables that I don't want in the final data set, bank 0. So for now, I'm just going to keep that customer ID 1 in there. And another way, actually, that we could do it is this. Well, no, I'm not going to do that now. Okay, so we've got our customer ID in there now. If I toggle over it, it is numeric. Okay, so that's good. The next thing that I'm going to do is convert the customer banking info. And the ID that I want in there is going to be customer ID. And again, the way that we're doing this in R is this is the new variable, and this is based on the old variable. Okay, so the old variable in the customer info banking promo is this customer ID 2. Pull this down a little bit so you can see. Okay, so now when I double click on this customer banking info promo, ID 2 is still in there, and we've got our customer ID at the end as well. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is merge the data. So the way that we do this is another command, and here I'm going to just say this new merge data I'm going to include as bank 0, and that's going to include, you can only join 2 at a time. And so what that's going to do, we're going to do first is merge the customer underscore demographics with, we'll do the customer banking info first. And it's going to be by equals that customer underscore ID. Okay, now when I hit this, if I've done it correctly, you'll see that bank 0 is going to be created here. Perfect. And I see that that's those 10 variables. And it's merging, again, this customer demographics with the customer banking info. And it only has 10 because of that customer ID is consistent across both. It's the same. All right, now I'm going to recreate the bank 0. This time I'm going to write over essentially bank 0. I have this bank 0, and here this is that merged version, and I'm going to merge it with customer banking info promo. And again, by that customer ID. And that should override that. Now it's updated it to 20 variables. Now the thing that I'm going to do is look at the variables that I want to exclude here. So if I look at my bank 0, I've got customer ID first. Perfect. I want to drop column 6. So see here, this column 6. Column 11, that's that character one. And that might be it. Let me just see. I thought I had a customer ID. Oh yeah, okay, here. Customer 6, column 6 and 11. I thought for some reason there was another one. Maybe it's just those ones. And so when I do that, it's going to require me to just say bank 0. This is the new data set. And essentially here is bank 0 existing. You may want to, create different versions, like a bank 0.1 or something like that, if you're nervous about losing it. So bank 0 is going to override this. Bank 0, in this case, we're going to combine everything except 6 and 11, those columns, 6 and 11. Okay, so essentially what this should now turn to an 18 because it's going to drop again. Let's just double check this. Column 6 and column 11. Okay, perfect. And again, the way that R was able to merge these, the order in which we did it, it read it in as numeric. So we don't actually have to do a recode that we did in SAS. All right, so now we've got this bank 0. If you want to characterize the data, you can actually just do a summary of bank 0. And that gives us the output here for all those variables. So it just gives us the demographic, or really the demographics, the overview. Here again, we're seeing that that age is that 146. And the way that we will be looking at these, it's kind of looking, giving you a summary in terms of the quantitative aspects. See here, this customer ID, it's only characterizing the numeric ones. And I will show you in class today how we are going to characterize with the different types of plots. So essentially what that would include is looking at some of the like box plot function. So if I say I wanted to do, we'll say a histogram here. So we'll say histogram of bank 0, the variable, let's say age here. This is giving me the histogram. And we can actually, this is an innate, like embedded R function. We can create a different type of a label so it doesn't look so, you know, unprofessional. But again, the reason that I'm able to create a histogram here is because this data is quantitative. If I wanted to do, say, a box plot, I think of the education data. Let me see if I can do that. It's always dangerous to do this on the fly. Box plot, X, produces whistles. This is actually also going to be quantitative as well. So I'd have to do, maybe a pie. We'd have to look at some of those. Okay, I'll look at into the categorical variables after this. For now, we've just characterized the data in a sort of summary statistics function, merged the 3 data sets after importing them into RStudio. So that would bring you up to the point of needing to recode. And again, we could do that quite easily by just essentially doing the override in the bank 0 data set. Okay, so this concludes the section on how to import, merge, and recode some of the variables in RStudio.